Okay, welcome back. Yes, I realize I've already done Friday the 13th on my channel. It's my most viewed video has, as of right now, I think, uh, somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,000 views. And, that one is a completionist video. I got all the items, all the weapons, and rescued all the campers and counselors. This time, we're just going to be blazing through it. Um, The only item we're going to be concerned about getting is the torch. We might lose a few campers or counselors in the process. So this is not going to be a speed run, but it's going to be a minimalist run, just getting the torch. Okay, and in the pinned comment, I'll put a link to that vid. Not that you really need it. Okay, and that being said, that out of the way, uh, I did, by the way, finally see the Sleepaway Camp movies. I'd seen the Friday the 13th movies years ago, but the Sleepaway Camp movies I never got around to seeing. They are interesting. I highly recommend the Sleepaway Camp films. With the Friday the 13th series, there's always everyone seems to remember, uh, you know, the theme, which is Jason Voorhees destroying campers and counselors, but it actually never really worked out that way. There only once was the camp actually open, but at Sleepaway Camp, it's a little bit more uh, closer to that. Anyway, so all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Our minimalist run, we're still going to be using Mark. And I have also talked about the situation with Mike and Bootsy several times already, but we are going to bring it up one more time. This might be the last time I talk about it, because I think basically, it's already been talked about to death. Alright, so we're going to get the torch as quickly as possible. So if Jason attacks any campers or counselors, whatever. But anyway, Mike and Bootsy. So as I, play retro games when I'm not recording, I've mentioned this before, but I put videos on in the background just to have some background noise. And lately, I've been putting, for background noise, the Mike and Bootsy videos from Cinemassacre. And I suspect I'm not the only Cinemassacre fan to do this, but I was kind of curious, knowing with the benefit of hindsight how things worked out with Mike and Bootsy. I was hoping to glean a little insight as to what happened, just by keeping those videos on peripherally in the background. And the short answer is no, I did not. As far as I can tell after listening, half paying attention to the Mike and Bootsy videos, they were good friends. Mike Matei and Brendan Bootsy Kasner, friends since 4th grade, growing up, I believe, in New Jersey. I will say this, the only inclination you can get that there was anything amiss is if, and I suspect I'm not the only one to also notice this, but if you check out, because things went wrong in 2016, shortly after the infamous Christmas episode in 2016, with Keith Apicary doing the Sega Menacer and the Activator. So I watched the very last Mike and Bootsy episode where they did McKids. It's a 2-part episode. Hard to believe that there was that many Mike and Bootsy episodes at all. 40 or 50 something episodes. Some of them were really good episodes. Like I really like the Donkey Kong 3 episode, the balloon fight episode. You know, those are really fun to watch. You know, they had a very good chemistry together, and you could clearly tell they'd been friends for a long time. But when you watch the McKids episode, it is... Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but it does appear that something is amiss. Mike is more subdued than I ever seen him before. Like, there's a couple of cryptic comments that Mike and Bootsy made when they were addressing the situation, you know, after everything had already gone down and Bootsy had left or been kicked off the channel. Mike saying they weren't getting along behind the scenes, etc. It does appear that there was some sort of palpable tension when you watch the McKids episode. Mike is usually very excited. He likes to point things out. He likes to, you know, make jokes. When I watched the McKids 2-part episode, that's the most subdued I'd ever seen Mike. He did not seem to be enjoying himself. You know, it looked like he was just kind of going through the motions. I think what had happened is I'd watched the Super Monkey Ball episode, which is a game I guess they played a ton of together in college. And you know, there's lots of, you know, they're making lots of jokes, they're having a good time. And then you put on like the McKids episode, and it's, you know, Mike is clearly something is amiss. And so we did lose a counselor. We lost George, it looks like. Okay, so we got the torch, and now we're just gonna... This is the only item we need. We did pick up a few things of medicine. Vitamins. Now we can just spend the rest of the game fighting Jason. So, I don't know. Go back and watch the McKids, Mike and Bootsy episodes. Maybe you'll agree with me. Maybe you'll think I'm just reading too much into it. There was also a comment, a remark that, you know, when they were addressing the situation via social media. I think it was Mike who said we both did things that were really, you know, rotten to each other. And that one always, I think probably a lot of Cinemassacre fans look at that and they're like, well, what does that mean? Were these guys, you know, ripping on each other or something? I can only assume it means that it was, my assumption, and I could be wrong, is that it was work related. They were, you know, kind of, when it came to divvying up, you know, editing duties and things like that, they were both kind of making each other's lives miserable. You know, again, they never really got into specifics. The fact that they were always so vague about it is why, you know, Cinemassacre fans continue to speculate about what happened. Whatever it was so bad that, as far as we know, they've never made up. And that there appears to be no chance whatsoever of making up. And then, of course, finally, one assumption I think a lot of fans have guessed as much is that it was money related. Bootsy has talked about that he wasn't fairly compensated for some of the work he did. I think he said he did some editing for some of the Board James episodes. Maybe for Mike and Bootsy, he did some editing. Now, my theory, and I could be completely wrong, I will always maintain that only those that were there, only the people that are involved truly know what actually happened. And as a result, we're just kind of left, because they've, always been vague about it. We are, and we're not in the know. We can only speculate. And my speculation has always been that Screenwave signed the contract with Cinemassacre maybe in 2015 or 2016. And when they did, they had certain amounts of money allocated, this for an AVGN budget, this much for James, this much for, Kieran, for Ryan, Justin, whatever. This much for equipment, this much for, everything. Part of the legal contract was all the money was allocated. And my belief has always been that when it came to Bootsy, that some of that was going to come out of Mike's cut. That Mike was probably given the choice, okay, if we're going to keep the Bootsy Beats series, if we're going to keep Mike and Bootsy, if you wanted, then we're going to keep Bootsy on board. He's going to get X number of hours doing, editing duty or whatever. And and this is what his cut is going to be. Now, Mike would be entitled to that full cut if Mike picks up those editing duties and, X, Y, and Z, appearances on retail reviews or whatever. So, just a theory, but like I said, my personal belief has always been that ultimately it was up to Mike whether Bootsy stayed on board because it was going to come out of Mike's pay. And again, they've been tight-lipped about it, so I think that's as good of an estimation to the truth as you're going to get unless they were to ever reveal what actually happened. One of the popular fan theories that comes up with alarming frequency is that Mike was in some way, shape, or form jealous of Bootsy because Bootsy did better than him at some games. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Mike is very good at retro games, and Bootsy beat Silver Surfer on the channel. He beat Battletoads on the channel. He beat Back to the Future 3 on the channel. He did enjoy a bit of a reputation as being like the retro gaming savant on the channel. But I don't think that's at all I don't think it was a jealousy issue. I think it was money, pure, plain and simple. Okay, so now we're on the last day. We beat Jason in broad daylight. How about that? And I'll tell you what. I'll make you a promise. We'll try and glitch him out if we can. I could have done it on that last battle. If there is a path when Jason is blinking, right before he dies, you have a split second, and if you go down a path, Jason will be alive. You won't be able to kill him. Like, you won't be able to do any damage to him. I mean, you could still, like, hit him, and end battles, but he'll never lose any life. Oops. Jason taking his sweet time before attacking anyone. Come on, let's get some action going. Alright, there we go. Always interested in knowing where the fans are with the whole situation about Bootsy. I'll say this, he's been very quiet on social media. I don't think he's been performing any live music. I've always believed that sometime over the last few years he got, not only did he move well and beyond Cinemassacre, but, he got a full-time job and really started focusing more on his career. And my pal, the Vintage Gamer, he's done a couple videos talking about, you know, I think I've had private conversations with him, and he's mentioned a little bit about, you know, the line of work Bootsy is in, and that he really enjoys it and finds it fulfilling. So, yeah, he's obviously moved well beyond. I do still harbor that curiosity, though, and me and many other fans will always harbor that curiosity about what truly happened. There's that great line from Bootsy, you know, about him. He mentions that he's passionate about music, and if one of his favorite bands broke up, he'd like to know the reason why. And it really does hit the nail on the head. You'd like to know, you know, just for the sake of of giving something closure. You know, what did happen? What was so bad that it couldn't be, you know, it caused them to throw away a friendship? You know, sometimes I think, of them like, you know, because Bootsy would appear at some of the conventions from time to time to, like, you know, help sell merchandise and speak on a panel and set up and things like that. And I tend to think that maybe, like, when it came to doing things like that, he may have been given, like, duties that were, you know, I guess he felt beneath his station. Again, just speculating. Alright, and we beat the game. So, took a lot longer than I would have liked. 22 minutes. I think when I beat this game and did a completionist run, it was, you know, not that much longer. For whatever reason, just Jason not attacking frequently enough. And I know there's a way to, like, manipulate running into him on the paths and stuff to speed up the game. Obviously, we didn't do that. This wasn't a speed run, but just another one to cross off the list. So, anyway, we'll beat something else again real soon. Stay tuned.